You might have noticed that I've been a little quiet lately, and that's because I did a lot of traveling. And I want to share with you one of those traveling experiences. So I was very fortunate to be one of the participants in Myak retreat in Dolomites in Italy. And that retreat was organized by Myak Fibers with Joji Locatelli as the instructor. And I was very nervous because there's no direct flights from Boston to Milan. So I had a connecting flight, and then we had to catch a bus to get from Milan to Dolomites. And it was like a house of cards. Like I was afraid that one connection is going to be missed and everything can be turned into nightmare. But luckily, everything went very smoothly on the way there. So I arrived to Milan and I met with some people that I didn't even know going to be participating in this retreat. Kim from Knit Together with Kim and Jonah was there at the airport, and Nara from Knit Leaks. So it was super nice to see some familiar faces and to meet some new friends.
Oh, we're saying hi?
So we were meeting in the airport until the bus got there, and Hohi and her youngest son was joined us.
Monarch knitting. Yes, yes, that's me. That's me.
So we got on the bus, and it was about 5 hours drive from Milan to Dolomites. So we arrived the village name. So this is the village where Paula grew up as a child. It's called Cavalesi. I hope I pronounce it right. I think it was Cavalesi. It's very beautiful, picturesque in the mountains. The climb on the mountains was just breathtaking.
Thank you. That looks familiar though.
Andrew was right here.
Oh, he was so red. Okay.
Over there, 6 months ago.
Oh.
So you could just leave it free. You know, they had to pay for the permits.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So they bring Harvey down to the park.
And we got there to this beautiful boutique hotel that's called Park Hotel Azalea. And it has beautiful grounds. There is like this garden with some water sculptures and a terrace and the views of Dolomites. Really beautiful. So first thing first, we checked in, and then we had a little cocktail reception with some beautiful Italian finger foods and some appetizers. And I was very surprised to see Fruity Knitting there. So Andrea and Madeline from Fruity Knitting were there to interview Myak team and also Hohi. So you probably should wait and see that interview. I'm sure it was amazing. So it was lovely to finally meet them in person, and we talked all things YouTube and talked about their channel and my channel. So it was really lovely to just interact with everybody, to meet all the participants. There were people from pretty much all over the place. There were some Europeans from Germany, from Spain. There were Americans from all the states. So it was very interesting to meet people and just get to know everyone a little bit. And then after the cocktail reception, we went for dinner at the hotel. And it was beautiful and super fun because they had these big, long tables and you could sit and meet new people and just chat and see where they're from and learn about them. So it was really lovely. One thing for sure, nobody was hungry at that retreat. There was so much food. There was always a salad bar, and then like 3-course meal was just wonderful. But to be honest, at that point, we all had a very long day because I had to get up. I flew through Amsterdam. So that was like 7-hour flight. And then I had to wait for the connecting flight from Amsterdam to Milan, and then wait in Milan for the bus, and then 5-hour bus. So it was a really long day. So we pretty much crashed after dinner. And I thought I'm not going to be able to wake up the next morning, but I was up pretty early. For people who were up even earlier, they had a yoga class. I did not wake up that early, but we started with breakfast, and then we had a class with Joji Locatelli. And the first class that we had on that first official day of retreat was about how to properly fit a sweater, or how to make any pattern to fit your body type. So Joji somehow not only managed to tell us all about different measurements, but she managed to measure the entire class, every single measurement. I was like super impressed. And what I loved about Joji, like when you think about it, when people measure you, it's very intimate and personal. But she made it so comfortable that everybody was just laughing and having great time, and nobody was like paying attention to those numbers, and you didn't even pay attention to your own numbers because it was just numbers. And she's just wonderful teaching instructor. I've learned so much during that class, and it was about small changes that you can make to any pattern to make it fit you and your body type better, and also how to pick the more complementary designs for your body type. So there was like a lot of very useful information.
We designers will use that same measurement as a straight line. That means that there is some ease.
About halfway point, we had a little coffee break. And while everybody went to get a cup of coffee and some little desserts, Joji and I went for a modeling session. So exactly before I left for Milan, I finished one of the shawls that I was working on. And it's my very first design that I just published. I call it Sweet Surrender. And one of the versions, I actually knitted 4. And this is the very first time in my life when I knit 4 of the same project. But it's a fun shawl to knit, and I made it in all different colors. So the color that I brought to Italy with me, it was more subdued. It was in brown and like this peach color. It was really feminine look to it. And Hohi very generously agreed to model it for me. So we went for a little photo shoot during the coffee break. And here are some of the pictures that we took. This shawl was basically designed for absolute beginners in lace because I wanted to show people that they can knit lace. A lot of people are afraid of lace and they think it's too finicky, but this shawl is very versatile. You can knit it even with fingering weight. So you just have to adjust the width of it or length of it. But I did mine in lace weight, but it can be done in thicker yarn. And I also like that you can do it in one color or 2 colors. So you can even do stash busting and make it in rainbow of colors. I even made a bridal version. And this is a surprise for Andrea from Woolen Women Fibers. She's getting married this September, and I wanted to make her something very special. So I figured what can be more special than my first design in bridal colors. You can't really see, but it has a little bit of sparkle to it also. And if there is a black light, it's going to be like disco ball there. You're going to see that sparkle shine big time. You might have seen on Instagram my daughter modeling this version. So this is like really bold colors, but it can be any color of your choice pretty much. And I'm going to put the link to that pattern in the description of this video. So if you want to grab it, or if you want to just put it in your favorites for the future, it will help the algorithm to show it to more people. So after the class, we had lunch, and then we had like a little bit of free time, and I went for a walk through the village just to see it. And it's very picturesque with a lot of little stores, gelato places, and just to see the mountains all around. It was just very relaxing. In the afternoon, we had a very special treat. We were divided into 2 groups, and we had the cooking demonstration with a Michelin star chef, Alexandro Gilmozzi. So he taught us how to make pasta with tomato sauce and also pasta carbonara, and a dessert made with pasta as well. He was super charming, very funny, and like very professional at the same time. And we learn a lot of interesting tips and tricks how to cook your pasta so it's al dente. Here are some of the pictures I took and some of the footage I took during that cooking demonstration.
The more you make, then you can save it. So you put in it, you use a little bit of the cooking water that is already has some salt in it to add, and it's always more liquid. Then you take your spaghetti out of the microwave.
So you can use 100 grams of spaghetti and you use 100 grams of this type of pasta. So
So this is done with the system. So there are also 80 grams of
And if you think that looks like a lot of food, well, that was just a little prelude to dinner. So we went to his restaurant for dinner. It's called El Molin. And basically we were catered. It was just our group, and we were served this beautiful dinner. And it's also a brewery, so there was really good tasting beer there for us to taste. They also have a store in the restaurant, and here is a little bit of the store goodies for you. It was a long day, but it was delicious day, and it was also super fun and educational, and it was this perfect balance of learning something and having free time to just roam around, and also showing some learning some new skills and meeting some local people. It was like really well balanced day, but we were obviously exhausted at the end, and the next day was probably the most difficult days physically for this retreat. We woke up bright and early, we had breakfast, and then we were driven to the mountains for a hike. And that drive was partially scary, but also so invigorating because it's very steep mountains, and to see that village somewhere deep, deep down the hill was really sort of chilling, you know. But we arrived at the base, and then we met Chef Alexandra there, and he took us on a hike through the woods and then up the mountain to show us some of the things you can forage in those mountains. So he showed us some edible plants and herbs and mushrooms. And you can see how passionate he is about the environment and all these local plants. So he cooks a lot with what he forages. And we basically went to forage for our lunch. And one hill was particularly steep, so we had to do a little zigzagging with frequent stops, but we finally made it to the top. And then it just opened this spectacular view of Dolomites. The way down the hill was much easier than that climb up the hill. So we made it to the base, and there is a beautiful restaurant there with very picturesque terrace. And we had some wine tasting, and there was charcuterie boards. And then we were served amazing, amazing lunch. So here are some of the pictures of our lunch menu. You can see that there is a lot of plants going in there. Most of those we actually foraged ourselves. We arrived back to the hotel in the late afternoon. We had a couple hours to just rest a little bit after our hike. And then we had a presentation by Myak team about the history of Myak. And they were talking about how it started and how they source yarns, and basically like all about their company. We also got some goodie bags, and part of it was this beautiful bag. So you can see there is a dragon. So the story of this bag is that Paula have a friend who is an artist, and at one day she decided to order 12 signs of Chinese zodiac, just the art form, and now they use it for bags. For so each year, like now it's the year of the dragon, I guess. So we have this bag with the dragon artwork on that bag. And in the bag, we had each 2 skeins of Myak fibers, Myak yarn. There was also 1 mini skein, and they were all different colors. So this is the colors I gotten. And then we also had this laundry balls in that bag with some lavender oil in it. There was also very delicious porcini polenta, and it only takes 90 seconds to cook it. So it's very convenient and yummy. I actually made it for dinner the first day I came home, and my husband loved it. And also when we went for cooking presentation at Chef Alessandro, he gifted us an apron each, and then we had some spaghetti to take home. So my suitcase was full with some Italian goodies when I went home. After the presentation, we had dinner at the hotel because nobody goes hungry at Myak retreat. And it was very nice because people already got to know each other. So like there were some new friendships were formed, and like people were getting to know each other much better. So it was really nice, relaxing atmosphere, and Myak team was with us, and we all got to hang out. The next day started again with yoga class, which again I missed somehow. This early in the morning wasn't something I could do. And then we had another class with Hohi, and the second class was about color theory and how to combine colors and what you can do for create perfect gradient and fades and what colors go best with each other. It was really interesting presentation. And what I loved about that presentation, that Hohi wasn't just showing her designs, she was using other designers' patterns as an example of what she liked and what she thought was inspiring. So I really appreciated that about her. And after the class, yes, you guessed it, we had the amazing lunch at the hotel. And again, it was always 3-course meal and the salad bar. So there was plenty of variety of food to choose from. In the afternoon, the yoga instructor took us through the hills of this village, and we went. It was very leisurely walk just to see a little bit of village and just to see the beauty of the hills around us. And we even got to play on Tibetan drums there. There was a little bit of a meditative moment. And well, of course, I had to try it, right?
This way. To the right. Yeah. Orange shirts. It's close. Yeah. Okay. We see beauty.
This is like the gong I've moved out there.
Yeah. I wish I could meet while somebody's playing this. I feel like 7 is out of tune.
Oh, lovely.
And since it was our last day at the retreat in Cavalesi, we had to try traditional Italian pizza. So Chef Alessandro also has a pizza store in that village. And so we went there and we each got an individual pizza. I was sitting at the table with my friend Grace, who is part of my knit night in my local knit store. So we had a glass of wine each and we had some beautiful pizzas. And we just got to relax our last night in Dolomites. The next morning, we had to get up super early. We left hotel at 6:30. We drove to Milan airport. Luckily, there was no traffic at all. So we got there pretty early. I had to wait a little bit for my flight to Iceland. And everything went very smoothly up until I was about 10 minutes away from Boston, where the thunderstorm started. And so we were diverted to Providence Airport instead of Boston Airport. And then while we were waiting to refuel and then refueled, it was like a few more hours on the ground, the airplane started to drive and accidentally hit the wing and couldn't take off anymore. So we had to unload in Providence, which was a whole big ordeal. And I had to find a way to get back home. So I managed to get an Uber. It was an interesting night, but I got home at 4 a.m. instead of 10 p.m. as planned. But I made it in one piece. So that's all that counts. Overall, however, I thought it was really greatly organized. And I even told Paula and the team that if that retreat was designed specifically with me in mind, they couldn't have done a better job, because there was this perfect balance of education, relaxation, events, great food, great company. And even though it's only 3 days, it felt like much longer. It felt like it was so filled with activities that it felt like we've been there for a week. So I want to thank Myak team for organizing this retreat. And I hope you enjoyed this recap of my Italian adventures. Until next time, happy crafting.